All right. Yeah, we're back. We're back. And I think I'm probably going to run into issues with the stream because I made a big doo-doo and accidentally hit the stream button on Streamlabs. Hit the stream button on Streamlabs, but forgot to select the stream event that I'm using. Get the camera in the right place. There we go. Now I'm centered. Yeah, I accidentally started the stream pointing at a new event instead of pointing towards the event that I had scheduled for this stream. And last time I did that, YouTube didn't seem to like it, so I don't imagine we'll get a big turnout today, but that's fine. Because I won't be able to do a super long one today anyway, because my family's coming over later, which is going to be nice. Gonna have a chilled evening. It's a bank holiday weekend in the UK for May, which is nice. Don't know if that's global or not, but it means long weekend for us. And yeah, I'm gonna make the most of it before other responsibilities take over. So, plan for today. First of all, let's do a recap of what we've done in the previous two streams, and I'm actually really chuffed with the progress that we've got here. You'll notice that my knight is missing. The knight is actually still there. I can click and move, but I broke the visual for it, and that's kind of what we're going to be working on today. I want to make some models for the rest of the pieces that we've got going, and possibly set up some materials in Blender as well, because I have a system that I want to put in place for how upgrades apply some visual change to pieces. But anyway, last time we got our board set up properly with dynamic pieces. We set up our pieces to be able to move with a visualizer that shows where the movement can go. So the bishop, let's take him and move him to here. We also set it up so that it highlights a different color for captures, and we can indeed click to capture a piece. We can see that now the black bishop is gone. And we've also fixed a bug with inverting movements on other pieces, so that the black pieces can move in the opposite direction, do their captures, and everything is working fine there, which is great. That's all very good. So today the plan is I would like to spend the beginning section of this stream finishing modeling the rest of the pieces. So we've got a bishop, we've got a pawn, we've got a rook, and I've also created a queen earlier. So we still need to make the king, and we need to make the knight, and I think that should be everything at that point. After that, we'll maybe make some materials that we can use in Blender, or set up the material mappings in Unity so that we can have dynamic materials for different parts of the model. And then we'll hop back into Unity, get our black pieces facing the opposite direction, because at the moment, if we take a look at the bishop again, we can see that it's still facing that way. Yeah, you can see there it's looking backwards instead of looking forwards. We obviously want him to be looking in the direction that he's going to be moving, so we'll fix that. And yeah, potentially we'll also look at doing some updates for our movement system so that there's better separation between the white pieces and the black pieces for selecting and capturing, because obviously we want to be introducing an AI at some point that can do its captures differently. Cool, let's hop right into it. So over in Blender here, you can see we've got the pieces. I'm going incredibly minimalistic for this vibe. You can see the bishop is like, yeah, and the rook, everything is super minimalistic. Pawns are literally just like a rounded cube. The queen is a tall rounded cube with a circle on top. The king is going to be pretty similar. We'll just put a cross on top instead of a circle. And then the knight is going to be the hardest thing to model. But I was chatting with my dad earlier about getting some help with beveling stuff properly to get these rounded edges, and he's come in clutch with being able to make the bevel without absolutely screwing my geometry. So yep, happy days there. Right, cursor to world origin, shift A, I want to add a cube. I'm going to hit tab, I'm going to scale it to 0.5. That's 5, scale 0.5. I'm going to move it up on Z by 0.5 and then scale on all axes except Z by 0.5, and that gives us our basic shape. And then I did something funky with the queen. I've moved the top edge of the queen up slightly, or I moved the outer edges of the queen down a bit. So I'm going to do the same thing with the king. The way I did that is by putting 2 loop cuts perfectly down the center on both sides. Grab our edge select and just select the edges around the top, and then I can just move these down to there we go. Yeah, it was fine. Move these down to about here-ish, maybe slightly higher, somewhere like that. Cool. I put another loop cut in on both of these, because that then lets us grab vertices, grab this section around here. We can do 2 sphere, which lets me turn that into a circle. And then this is going to be where we extrude our magical pointy bit from. So did I actually... No, I didn't scale this down. I just extruded it and scaled it down first. So we get a nice little thin point. And then I'm going to extrude up a little bit. Probably to about there. Extrude again. We're going to scale that up nice and wide. Extrude up again. Probably to somewhere like here, because I want to add like a decent bevel on it. Extrude again. Scale down. And then here, this is where I want to put in the crown for our king. Erin, hello! Welcome back. Doing some modeling today before we hop back into doing some code. I am modeling the rest of the chess pieces and currently working on the king. Already did the queen earlier. I was debating possibly doing this off stream and then just doing code today, but I felt like we could shift things up a little bit. Right, so I'm going to grab each of these. I've set the mode to individual origins, and I think now I should be able to scale on Y to 0, and that gives us a perfectly flat section. We'll do the same thing with this. Shift, 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 like that. Scale on X to 0, and now we've got a square back again, and we can shape this however we want. So I'm going to make it quite wide and quite small. And that's going to give us the basis for our king, whoopsie daisy, king's crown. So we'll go up like that. Extrude again. I'm going to scale just on X. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I want to go just on Z. And then extrude once more on Z. Extrude again. Scale 0, M by distance, and that should give us a single vertice up in the top now. Whee! Let's not do that. And then can grab these and extrude. I think there's an extrude faces along normal. That's going in the wrong direction. Bun it. Scale X. Have I got separate faces now? I do. I probably want to go to medium point, scale X. There we go. And this is definitely way too small, is the first thing that I'm noticing. So let's go ahead and make this whole thing much bigger. I'm going to press Alt-Z to give us through selection. Going to select all of this, move the whole thing up a whole bunch. Same thing here. Get this looking more square. And finally on the top. And then we'll do a similar thing. Whee, careful now. where we bring these out much wider. Cool. And that gives us more of a plus on top. And now we get to go through and do all of the beveling, which is always fun. Always fun. I should be putting the screenshots, the shortcuts on screen, really. There is an add-on for that, I think. What's it? Input. Maybe let's have a quick Google. Display Blender inputs. Might be an add-on that I need to download. Screencast keys. No longer distributed with the official release. Nice. But that's probably something that we want to use. Yeah, look at that. What version of Blender am I using? About Blender 4.1. 3.14 supports 2.8 and above. Okay, let's use 3.13. I did say we're using 4.1, didn't I? Yeah, perfect. 3.13. Nah, it's all good, all good. And hello. We're working on models today for chess pieces. I'm just looking to get an add-on, which will show the screencast, or show the keys that I use on screen. We're going to download 3.13. I can't install the unstable version, but if you want the unstable, I don't want the unstable. Let's download 3.14. It should work. Download the zip. Save that to my downloads. Install the add-on from Blender. Install, select the zip. Enable add-on. Great. I think our download is done. So we're going to go edit, preferences, add-ons, install, downloads, date modified. And we're going to go down past all the folders, screencast keys, install add-on, enable. Amazing. So now, nothing's happened. Am I an expert on modeling? Absolutely not. If anything, I kind of suck at it. But it's like I say on previous instances of the stream, I like to go through the whole process of like game development and learning all the pieces, because there are a lot of elements of you know, what I will do that just won't, like, I'll have to, I just don't know them, and that's going to be the same for everybody, I think. So it's nice to show the process. Right, let's up the size of this to maybe like 60. Display time, 3 seconds is probably fine. Line thickness, let's go 1.25. That should be all good. There we go. Now we got cursor displays. The mouse is, oh, it's hidden behind my my face, or not my face, my support link. Let's just move this up to the top right. If I can definitely move it to the bottom right. Offset. Line it on left. No, I want to align it on the right with an X offset of -20. Let's maybe go like -75. That's way too far. There we go. Nice. Now we've got keystrokes down next to my head. Perfect. That's fantastic. Right. Go back and look at the chat. I can use free asset for my game. I could, but I don't want to. I like to have control over everything that I'm doing. So it's always nice. And I like to learn stuff as well. It's part of the fun. And my style as well, or my like minimalist vibe that I like to go for is something that I like to continue to experiment with. So let's go ahead and bevel our good king here. I want to grab all of these. Bevel. I think I do usually that many. And then I go for a 0.05. Boom. Let's grab these edge loops. Bevel. And I'm just going to bevel them by eye. What's going on there? Something super weird is going on there. What's going on there? That's all connected as it should be. It might be because I messed up the right. If I recalculate the normals, is that going to help me? Yeah, there we go. Messed up the normals. I just want the edges because I don't want to bevel the outsides. I just want to bevel this bit. Yeah, that's cool. Or maybe I do want to bevel the outside. I'm not sure. Let's have a think. Let's have a think. You know, yeah, I'm gonna bevel the outsides as well. I've decided. Bang, bang. Command B, bevel. I quite like the slightly rounded look on there. Yeah, that's cool. Control F to move my camera. Lies. That's not the controls. There we go. I've got some interesting faces coming out there, but that's fine. And then I want to edge select again. And I'm just going to go ahead and I think bevel... Whoopsie daisy. I think I just want to bevel these edges. But that's going to do some weird things in the corners. And I probably also want to bevel these ones as well. Really, it would be much easier if I just put like a subdivision surface on here and did that instead of going through and beveling everything by hand. But also that means less control. What's gone on here? I forgot to select this face, that's what. There we go. Boom. King. Space. Smooth. Shade smooth. We have a crude looking king. Amazing. Let's go move him off by our queen. GX -2. GY 2. Perfect. And the final one is the knight. Cursor to world origin. Once again, add cube. Tab for edit mode. Scale. Where's my keys gone? It's not showing my keys anymore. 0.5. GZ. 0.5. Scale. Shift Z. 0.5. I have no idea where my my keys have gone. Can I refresh this to have it reshow? I'm going to just save and restart Blender again. Because I want to be able to have these keys showing up in the corner. There we go. Right. Okay, so for the night, this is the last piece that we have to do, and also the most complicated looking one. Again, emails. Don't care about those. So the way that I want to do this... Oh, that also reminds me, something I need to do on the king is stick in a loop cut here-ish. And I could be a lot more precise with this, but I think it's close enough. And I don't need to go too deep on it. And then for this piece, which is going to be our night, we want to go ahead and... I think probably if we loop cut on this face, like that, scale on X to make it bigger. This is going to be where we pull our face out from. Do a loop cut here. Like so. And then another loop cut here like so. I think that's basically going to be it, actually, isn't it? And then I can grab the face, extrude, probably to like here, just outside the front. Actually, let's do this properly, not selecting anything. We're going to extrude on Y by 0.15. That should have us perfectly in line there. Grab this top edge. Move it down. I think let's also grab these. Pull them, ooh, not down, back. Like that. Now I don't want to pull them back because we want to bevel all of these edges. We also want to do a little double loop cut like so. Grab this face on top. Or not grab this face on top, grab these faces around here. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, bang. Delete faces. Forgot to delete these two. And then we can go ahead, get our edge select, grab these ones, fill, fill, fill. And we'll do the same on this side. F to fill. Whoops. F to fill. F to fill. That gives our horsey a little head. The only issue that I do have now is we've got this running across the top, which I don't particularly want. Yeah, that was a mistake on my part that I didn't mean to make. I think let's just go ahead and rebuild the head. Dum. X. I'm going to delete not the vertices, X faces. Got this one. And then let's go ahead and join our vertices back up again, filling in as we go. Bang. Grab this edge, fill. 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 I want to make sure that this is connected everywhere. Good. This one also, and this one. Good. Now we can add another loop cut in. Grab our faces once more. Extrude 0.15. Grab our top edge, move it down again. to like here, and now we can go through and bevel everything, and this is going to be the speediest modeling of a minimalistic chess set you ever did see, which is nice for me because, you know, not a professional modeler. I think what we do is grab all of these to do first, and we'll bevel the top separately, because we're also going to have some geometry to fix around these back bits. Yeah, you can see that's it's kind of messing up our stuff. It's harshing our vibe. Okay, 0.05 is too much. I think ideally I would want to be able to get rid of the extra vertice that we've got up here, but I can't really do that in a very nice way without just like doing that and creating some weird polygons. But you know, we're not going to be animating these in terms of making them look like jelly or anything, so I think we can probably get away with it, but it's not good practice. Amazing. Did I accidentally select something I don't want? Nope. Command B, 0.05. Make sure we get some more curves in there. That's good. And then we'll have to sort out, yeah, the funky stuff that's going on here. Or maybe we just don't bevel these bits just yet, because I'm being lazy. I feel like it's probably okay. Bevel our horse's head. I forget that I want to bevel these as well. In which case we probably also want to bevel these. In which case we probably could just select the whole thing, because that's created some weird geometry in there. So yeah, let's go back and just select all of our edges. And we're just going to bevel slightly less than what we've done before. And I think same thing around here. Yeah, we'll just do that. Then we don't have any like super weird geometry. But we do have this being a bit too round for my liking. What we're doing, vertex. Scale this in a little bit. And then we can probably inverse bevel this like that. Make sure we get these. There we go. We have a very crudely modeled knight. Shade smooth. Job done. Honestly. Right, okay. Let's just move him back there next to our other piece, and then we are done. Let's rename all our objects. So he's going to be a knight. This is going to be our king. And our queen. Lovely stuff. Save. I'm going to just select everything, tab into edit mode, recalculate normals on the outside, just to make sure everything's in order there. And then we hop back over to Unity, and it's going to complain, and I'm going to ignore it because it's not causing me any issues. But we probably shouldn't ignore it. So we should now have our new knight model in the game. Yeah, there he is. Look at that. Full screen that. Come on, full screen. We have a little knight piece that can hop around the place. That's fun. Can't really see his front when you're playing as white, but we'll be able to on the white pieces, black pieces even, so that's good. Cool. Right, on my chess piece, we have a graphics object here, which we want to take the Y rotation and set it to like -180 if it's a dark piece. So I think we can go ahead and do that. We'll do that first on our board manager. When we create the piece, we really want to be doing this in the piece itself, because we're passing in the piece data, setting the piece data. So actually, let's go ahead and Command X this all from in here and just move it on over to our set piece data, because we've, yeah, update the visuals to match. Get component in children mess filter is going to equal our piece data dot piece visual. Get component in children. Let's import our systems dot generic, and we're going to be using is dark. And then we want to defer the materials to be on the piece object rather than on the board manager, which is great. So actually, let's just go ahead here, say public, not void, material, light material. This isn't going to be public, it's going to be a serialized field. And it's going to be private. And then we'll do the same thing for our dark material. Good, now we have no errors. And then we can also say, I guess, get child, transform.getChild 0, because we only have the 1. We're definitely going to rewrite this later because it's messy doing it like this. Also, how have those emojis come? They've just come over as messages instead of emojis. That's quite funny. Get child 0 dot rotation equals new. Not new. We're just going to do quaternion dot Euler. We'll do 90, and then is dark 0 180 0 and 0 on Z. Reason we're doing 90 on X is because we're not using the model, the blend file directly. We're using the mesh data, and because there's a mismatch between the axes in Blender and Unity, which I could probably fix in the configuration somewhere, but I haven't Googled it yet and figured out how, and can't be bothered to do it either. We're just going to have it set our rotation to be 90 on the X so that it's the right way around, and then flip the Y 180 if we're dark. So if we press play now, we're going to get nothing happening with some errors because we haven't set the materials on the chess piece. Let's go ahead and do that. And I think I actually made a light. Yeah, I've got separate materials for our pieces and our squares. So let's go ahead and update our board tile or our board prefab with the, yeah, dark square, light square. Good. Hit play. How to optimize Blender. You want to make similar content, 720p to 1080p quality rendering specs. That. Honestly, I'm not sure how you would optimize Blender itself. I think, you know, when you're actually working on stuff, spend as much time as possible just working in the either the material view or the flat viewport shading, because that's all you need for modeling. If you want to improve like your normals, you can add a matte cap, use the normal matte cap, because then you can see what the normals of any given face are going to be. There's also like a bunch of other ones. I quite like using the clay one if I'm sculpting, but I also quite like the metallic one because it just looks cool. So yeah, do all that for your modeling. If you're working with materials, you can do it just in the material view for the most part. But yeah, for rendering or when you're running in render mode, Eevee is typically a bit faster, but if you're doing output renders, cycles is still preferable, I think. And it's just going to take time because it's ray traced, which is why you get like the noise on it. That's it, calculating higher details of the ray tracing, and that does just take time. The only way you can improve the performance of that is decrease the maximum samples or increase your computer specs, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, you're kind of just beholden to whatever hardware you've got for the performance you can get out of Blender. Cool. So we now have our pieces facing the right way, being able to move. We can take stuff. At least we could if we had that set up to be able to capture. This bishop would be able to come in here, capture that. Maybe bring this forward. Our bishop steps in. I don't know where this bishop's going to go. Could maybe take this other pawn, but we're going to take it there. Bang. And yeah, everything is coming along swimmingly, which is quite nice. And that's only taken 45 minutes. Cool. So, what I would like to do then is perhaps let's start thinking about how we can make these visuals look a little bit better, and actually separate the visual from the piece itself. So the first step in doing that is let's actually go ahead and make a new folder under here, which I'm going to call visual representation. I'm going to make a new C# script, which I'll call piece visual. And there's also another C# script that I'm going to create, which I'm going to call just piece on its own. And we're actually going to abstract a lot of the data that we're using on the piece object at the moment away into that piece class. Because we maybe want to have it that if you're going through multiple rounds of playing a game of chess in this game, we want to be able to have it so that we can take away the objects in the world and put them back down later, but also be able to change the data about a given piece. Excuse me. So we want to make sure we set up the architecture in such a way that we can maybe have a list of pieces in the player's game manager, and then be able to instantiate piece objects with those configurations. So the piece itself can hold all of our different like piece data and movement data sets or expansions and stuff. And then, yeah, we can just swap pieces out as we go. Cool. Let's go ahead and start out with the piece visual, I guess. So I'm going to just delete everything that's in here by default. This is going to have a serialized field, private mesh renderer, which is going to be our mesh renderer. We'll also have a serialized field, private mesh filter, mesh filter. And I think we probably actually don't even need to... worry about making them serialized field. We can just have some require components on the top here. So we'll require component type of mesh renderer, type of mesh filter, like so. And then I'm going to put on just a public void update mesh, update visuals. And we have to figure out how we want to pass through the data on this. I think for the time being, I'm just going to force it down the line. So we'll pass through a reference to our piece data, and a bool is dark, like we had before. And then in our piece object, all of this stuff is going to come out of here and go into here. We're not going to do a get component anymore. We're just going to use data. We'll put the materials down here as well. Bionicle, hello, welcome, welcome. Doing more chess game today. And we are updating the separation of the pieces in some capacity. God, can't stop yawning. It's probably going to be a short stream today. I think I'll probably only go for another like 40 minutes or so, finish off at 5 because I got my family coming over. But we still want to make some good progress. Now, I'm thinking to myself how we want to set up the materials for how a thing looks. Because we have some options. One option would be to actually pass the have the materials be in the data or be somewhere in the data, because maybe we want to like, you know, we want to signify an ability on a piece with its visuals in some capacity, and that could be as a material, it could be as a particle effect, it could be as a lot of different things. But honestly, oh dear, honestly, I'm not sure. You know what? Rather than passing through just is dark on its own, let's also pass through a material, piece material. And then we can just put piece material in here. But in the long run, we probably want to replace this with a piece data dot get piece materials. And that will be some kind of decorator pattern implementation, I guess, where we return a new list with a different material at each index based on the applied abilities. Something like that. Something like that. God. Okay, cool. Go back to the piece object, and over here we want to get a reference to our serialize field private piece visual piece visual, and then we can say piece visual dot update visuals. We are going to pass through the piece data, the is dark value, and the material, which we're saying if is dark, we're going to pass the dark material, otherwise we pass the light material. And like I say, eventually we're going to take this out of this element and we're going to put it through into the data, because we want to have the visual reference be over that side rather than on the object itself, I think. Ooh-wee. Cool. Let's go ahead and have a look to see if this is working first of all, and then we can start messing around with some tweens and stuff for when we select bits and pieces. Chess piece. I want to go onto the graphics and add our piece visual. And then on the chess piece, we can drop in the graphics as our piece visual. So now this is completely separate from the piece itself, which means we can do all sorts of fun things with tweening it around to follow and whatnot. And there's also a question here if we want to make it so that selecting the board tile or clicking on the board tile selects the piece that's in it if there's a piece there. I reckon we probably do that because it's going to be a little bit easier for players. Possibly not. Oh, transform child out of bounds. Why are we getting that? Oh, of course. I just want this to be transform.rotation. Try this again. Yeah, there we go. So everything is working as it was before, but we now have complete separation of the visuals from the piece itself. Look at that, 2 options for capturing. Amazing. Now this one can take this one. Bang. It's nice. It's quite fun. Okay, cool. So I think let's have a look back over here at the Balatro field example from Mix and Jam, and we're going to have a look at everything that, like the way that he's handled separating the visuals here, I think. So there is a card visual, a visual cards handler, and a card. So I'm going to pop these all open in different tabs and kind of work through how this is going. The visual cards handler is just a singleton with nothing in it, so I think we can probably ignore it. Probably. Yeah, then we've got a card visual here. Cool. And I think the card visual we initialize with a reference to the card. Let's take a look at that initialize method. Yeah, cool. It's just doing a bunch of events. So we set our parent card to whatever the incoming card is. Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What I would like to know is if we are ending up with the physical parent. Set sibling index. Parent card.transform.parent.get sibling index. We're not doing anything with this index parameter. Oh, nice. Nice. That's fantastic. I might use you for pointers in that case, because I think we're going to end up with a similar kind of thing. I would love it if when the card is selected, it kind of does a little bob up and down, not the card, the chess piece kind of bobs up and down after it's moved to its position. And I do also want to use do tween for all of our actual movement. Yeah, the default UI layout groups suck, especially the grid. It's just awful, and they're really quite hard to work with too. Okay, so I am going to assume that we don't want the visual to be a child. Yeah, sweet. We can just instantiate the visual. And that's literally saying the parent, if we've got a visual handler, we'll use that visual handler.transform. Otherwise, we use the canvas transform. And then grab the card visual from that, which you don't need to do, because you can just instantiate it as the type that it is. Yeah, it should be using a card visual there. Great, okay. Works for me. Let's go ahead and turn our card visual, not card visual, our chess graphics. So I'm going to rename this to chess piece visual. We're going to turn this into a prefab. I'm going to create a new folder in my prefab section for chess pieces, or chess piece prefabs. Move those in there. I think I can get rid of the prefab suffix in here because we're in the prefabs folder. Prefab, chess piece, bang, chess piece visual, chess piece. Let's delete that from there. And we'll go onto our chess piece visual. And in the piece object, we can say piece visual equals instantiate. And we need a reference to that. Have a serialized field. Private, piece visual prefab. And I think we can probably make this a public piece visual, which can be a get private set, like that. And we'll say visual equals instantiate piece visual prefab. Don't think we need to give it a parent. And then we'll say visual dot update visuals. And I think rather than updating the visuals, or rather than having a method called update visual, we'll do an initialize method, public void initialize. And we can do a similar thing where we'll have a reference here, private piece object, visualized object. Taking a piece object. And then I think in here we can probably call our update, or well, we'll say visualized object equals visualized object, and then update visuals, passing through our visualized object dot piece data, visualized object dot is dark, and the materials that we have for that, which nah, bun it. I'm going to move the materials down into this layer so we don't need to pass through the material that we want. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. going to be lowercase is dark, and let's go ahead and have a serialized field. Private material, dark material, serialized field, private material, light material. Good job, well done. We need to make sure that in our awake we get a reference to our mesh filter and our mesh renderer. Lovely stuff. And then gonna delete my materials from in here because we don't need them there anymore. Don't know why we've got an import for Unity tile maps or graph view or text. Get rid of those. Cool. Now we should be good to set everything up again. Although our piece graphics are going to be way out of place because we haven't got them updating. Can I suggest the best free animation software? I'm good on Sketch and drawing, and now I want to try to animate stuffs. If you're, depends on what type of stuff you're doing. If you're doing pixel art, I'd say Aseprite is usually the best that people go for. I think you can get it for free, or there's like an open source version, but it's a great software and it's worth supporting. Alternatively, if you're doing 2D sketch type stuff, I'd say Critter. Yeah, Critter's fantastic, and it's got a timeline editor in it as well. Yeah, that's it. Right, I need to, real quick, I'm just going to say in the update visuals, let's also say, what about Blender? Blender is, you know, Blender's a 3D application, so it's probably better for 3D stuff. You can do 2D animations in it with the grease pencil, but it's kind of like using, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I don't really have a good analogy, but it's you know, it's designed for 3D, and it's very good at doing 3D primarily and keyframed tweened animations rather than like 2D stop frame animations. If you're doing 2D sketches, then a tablet is always a good shout. If you're drawing on paper and scanning the images in, then you just use any software that stitches images together. But if you're wanting to do stuff on a computer and you're drawing 2D images that aren't pixel art, then a tablet's definitely worth having, for sure. Unless you're good at doing it with a mouse, in which case you're absolutely fine. There's also the question there, like, are you doing hand-drawn or are you doing vector? Are you wanting to do tweens, like with modern animation? If you look at something like The Amazing World of Gumball, that's, you know, mostly set shapes that are then being tweened across keyframes, rather than each frame being drawn one by one, like old Disney animations used to be. It completely depends on, like, what you're looking to do. But as far as free solutions go, Critter is good for frame-by-frame hand-drawn 2D. Aseprite is good for pixel art 2D, hand-drawn again. And for tweened animations, if you're making games, Unity has a great built-in one. Samurai Jack type, yeah, I think that's probably a combo of hand-drawn and tweening. In which case, you want like a free alternative to Adobe Animate. Let's see if anything good exists. Yeah, Blender. Toon Boom used to be okay. I used that a lot when I was younger. Critter again, but I don't think that does like rigged tweens. 2D frame by frame. 2D frame by frame. Yeah, Toon Boom. After Effects, not free. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what the best free alternative for just animated tween animations would be. I'm afraid. It's not something that I've dabbled with too much outside the realms of game development, unfortunately. Paid options though, Adobe Animate's okay. Toon Boom is great from when I used it a few years ago. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Right. We want to have this update our thing. So I think for the time being, let's just say update. Public void. Update. We're just going to say transform.position equals vector3 dot lerp transform.position to our visualized object.transform.position, and we're going to use like, I don't know, 2.5 times time.delta time, and we'll make sure that we only do this if our visualized piece is not equal to null. So we can ignore it if we don't have one. No problem. Sorry I couldn't be more help on that, but hopefully that gives you some good pointers. Right, so we're going to grab our piece visual prefab, drop it in there, and now we should have some very basic smoothing on our chess pieces. Wow, what do you know? It's not working. We've just got a load of visuals going on here. Very interesting. Have I forgotten to initialize? I think that's exactly what I've done. Visual.initialize, and we can pass in this. There we go. Now we should be in the money. Wow, look at that. Everything is pink, but we have got some smooth movement now, which is cool. Look at the bishop. I wonder why everything is pink. It's because we haven't set the materials over here. Let's do that. We want dark and we want light. And I think probably we want this to move a little bit faster. We are going to replace all of this with various different tweens that listen to like the selected events and things like that, respond to different states on our piece object itself. Let's go ahead and speed this up to like 15 and then have a looky. Yeah, there we go. So now it's pretty quick, but it works well. If I taking is now busted. Oh no, it just doesn't delete the visuals. It doesn't delete the visuals. So we probably want to have some listener on here that listens to like an on-piece taken event. And all the rest of it, and we can feed back lots of information through those kind of events as well. Brills. So, I suppose let's get started on implementing some of these things, shall we? I want to create a new heading in my piece object class for events. We are going to add a public read-only... Hold on. Get my words the right way around, because public read-only static just doesn't sound right. We want public static read-only. And then we want an event for, like we just said, when a piece dies. Read-only Unity event. Of type piece object. On piece taken. I think we can probably have a public static read-only, or maybe we won't make these ones static, we'll just have a public read-only Unity event, which will have a bool on piece selected state changed, and a public read-only Unity event, and we want to have I guess a target tile and a current tile. Board tile, I can't name them in here, can I? No, I can't. This is one benefit of using delegates and events over using Unity events. So I think probably I'll actually do that for this one. We'll have a public read-only piece move event. Public read-only event, piece move event on piece moved. And we'll go ahead and create ourselves a delegate for this as well. Public delegate void piece moved event, which is going to have piece move event even. Can't make it read only. All right. Oh, of course, because we don't assign anything to it. So we're going to say piece move event, and it's going to take a board tile previous board tile move new, I guess. And I'm going to put an @ symbol in front of that to signify that we want it to be a parameter name rather than a reference to the keyword. Cool. There is a slight problem in that. Being that we don't move the piece in here, we move the piece in the board manager, so perhaps we do it up there, or invoke the event from up there at least. We'll come back to moving in a second though. I want to handle capturing first. So this on piece taken, let's go ahead and invoke that. On piece taken dot invoke this, and that's going to be important as well because it gives it something to listen to. And I think I probably at some point want to migrate this to use scriptable objects for events as well, so that we can have our listeners be a bit more dynamic. Yeah, especially if we're using prefabs all over the place, it's going to be a bit easier for us to be able to listen to different types of events on those channels. Potentially. I'll need to do some design and we can think about it. So that's that. On our piece visual, we want to say on start, let's make sure we public void start. We'll say piece object dot on piece taken dot add listener handle piece taken. Go ahead and generate that method. And we'll say for the time being, we'll just say if taken piece is not equal to our visualized piece, we're going to return. And I am going to rename this to visualized piece, not visualized object. Otherwise, we'll just destroy ourselves. And I'll put a to-do play some capture animation like that. Very nice. Let's give that a test. Real quick, I need to make sure I go in here on destroy and unsubscribe from that event as per. Gonna keep marching forwards. Let's take, boom, nice, and our chest visual is gone. Great. And then I want to think about how we handle the movement. So let's say when we initialize the piece, let's go ahead and say visualize piece dot on piece moved plus equals move visual. Yeah, because we're not going to do any of this anymore. Okay, so let's get rid of our update method. Generate a method for that, and we're also going to say visualize piece dot on piece selected state changed dot add listener handle piece selected state changed. It's very wordy, but it's the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to rename this as well to handle piece moved. Oops. Handle piece moved. So in handle piece selected state changed, I think we can just do some magical do tween stuff. In our visualizer, I want to yeah, look at this. So in the pointer enter, this is for when you hover over stuff. Oh, there's all sorts of fun things. What's shake parent a type of? I really need to sneeze. It's just a transform, so do punch rotation is a little sub-function of the thing. My brain is slowly starting to stop working. I'm probably going to wrap up soon, to be fair. and go get on with other gubbins. So yeah, here we go, on pointer up. This is effectively when the selection happens. Scale animations, long press. I mean, we could probably just say, transform.doMove, and we can move the thing up, rather than needing to move our piece object anymore. We don't need to update the physical position. With a selected Y offset, we can just move it to that. And then our piece visual, instead of, let's not throw exceptions, let's put some to-dos. To do, follow, or well, smoothly move to the piece's new position. And I think we probably don't even need the previous position, because we can just do like a transform.do move, and we're going to move from transform.position to new .transform.position over a duration of oh wait, we don't even need a new value, we just need an end value. Moving to this position over a given amount of time. I don't know, we'll say 0.5 seconds for the time being. We don't like magic numbers here, but we're going to do it. That's fine. We can set the easing. Maybe use an in-out, I guess. Do quadratic in-out, that's fine. But we're not going to do it like that. It's going to be to new transform.position plus vector 3.up multiplied by, like, I don't know, 0.75 or 0.5. Again, magic numbers, we don't like them, but we'll sort them in a second. And then we can chain another one, but I can't for the life of me remember how to chain movements. Do tween chain movements. Creating a sequence. Yeah, I just need to do tween.sequence, don't I? And then I can do sequence.execute, is it? Yeah, make a sequence. So let's do this. Var move sequence equals do tween dot sequence, like that, and then we can say sequence dot append dot append again. Indie devs are the coolest people ever, for real. Thank you. I'm gonna say thank you on behalf of the indie dev community for appreciating what we do. Because it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. But it's super fun. Very fulfilling. Why have I got an error in here? Something's complaining. It's because I'm missing a semicolon. There we go. What are your top 3 favorite games? I would love to know. Oh, it'd be tough to pick my own, to be fair. I think Hollow Knight's definitely up there, because that's just a classic and was a big inspiration of me getting back into indie game development. But outside of that, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Balatro at the moment is up there. And then I guess any management game from the Sock Pop Collective would be my other top 3. I really love Similand and Mistwood and Stacklands and Soko Loco. All of those, they're great. Undertale, Hollow Knight, Terraria, nice. Good choices. Solid choices indeed. Okay, how do I actually run this sequence? Is a good question. What's the game about? At the moment, it's not about anything. It's just a weird chess engine, but I have ideas for the direction I want to take it in, which I don't want to say publicly yet, because I don't want to make any promises, because it might change. There's no design document for this game or anything. It's just, I want to make like a chess-driven roguelite type thing. And this is kind of the start of that. I'm going to sit down as well, because my legs are starting to get tired. And we're back. Does it just run automatically? Don't use empty sequences. Sequences can be contained inside of other sequences. They're like tweeners, but instead of animating a property or value, they animate other tweeners or sequences as a group. Sequences, blah blah blah, tween, sequence or tweener can be nested inside a single other sequence, meaning you can't reuse the same tween in multiple sequences. Also, the main sequence will take control of nested elements, blah 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 blah. Twins added to a sequence can't have infinite loops, but the root sequence can. That means nothing to me. Do I just say like do sequence? Help me out, Dutween, help me out. Maybe it's just dotween.start, dotween.start run sequence. I mean, we've got dotween.sequence. I guess it probably just runs it. I'm going to say it just runs it. What engine do I use? I use Unity. I do want to mess around with Godot more. I just haven't really gotten around to it. I did start prototyping this in Godot, but Godot crashed multiple times. So I gave up and went back to using Unity. Don't know why it crashed, because I wasn't using an unstable version, but you know, who knows? Who knows? Right, and then for the piece selected state change, I basically want to say transform.doMove. I want to do this. And I want it to be transform.position plus selected that, otherwise plus nothing. put that in brackets so we get the right value out. Make sure we do vector 3.0 and stick a semicolon on the end of there as well. Cool. If you ever make a game in your life, you'll probably go with Game Maker since you're a big Undertale addict. Fair. One thing that I would say, and I've said it before multiple times, the engine doesn't make the game. You do. I think the best thing to do when you pick a tool is see how comfortable you feel with it. And see if it's got the capabilities for what you want to do. I think generally Game Maker is great, but you know, a lot of stuff that it does can be done by other engines as well, like Godot or Unity, or even libraries like Bevy or Love 2D, or the rest of it. They all kind of do the same stuff for the most part. It's, yeah, at that point it's kind of whichever one you feel most comfortable with, most comfortable learning. Because, you know, if Game Maker didn't exist, Toby Fox could have made Undertale in something else and he would have been fine. Looking at someone like Heartbeast, who used to be exclusively a Game Maker developer, switching over to Godot, again, does much the same stuff. It is just a tool at the end of the day. I feel like this should probably cover everything. Let's make sure we unsubscribe as well in the on destroy. I think I already made that method, didn't I? Yes, I did. Good, good. So we'll say if, way careful now. Visual piece is not equal to null. We want to also unsubscribe from these methods. Minus equals, remove listener. Amazing. I feel like this should do our movement now. We just want to make sure that when we initialize it and we update the visuals, or let's just do a quick transform.position equals visualize piece.transform.position. Like that. Wonder how people do coding. It's too complicated for you. It's it's a learning curve for sure. But the biggest mental switch is getting past the, oh god, what have I done? It's getting past the state of it being how do I write code, and more how do I solve this problem, and then also learning how to read documentation and understand what other people have written, because 9 times out of 10, or well, I say 9 times out of 10, 100% of the time when you're writing code, the thing that you're trying to do is solve a problem that you've made for yourself. Like at the moment, I'm trying to solve the problem of how do I get my visual piece to be in the same place as my object piece when it's created. And it's then a case of thinking what the steps for that are in nice friendly human terms, and I can even then write that in nice friendly human terms, knowing, okay, I need to know if something is the case or not, and then you can write that, literally write it as like a flowchart and work through it like that, and then it's just a case of translating from flowchart into a given language, which for the most part is going to be Googling how do I check, how do I do branching in a language, for example, or how do I store a value, like assigning a variable in this language, and then you basically literally can just translate from this like nice, easy, user-friendly flowchart that you've written into code, and it, touch wood, will work. Where it doesn't work, you then just need to learn how to do basic debugging, like putting in breakpoints, which will stop the program running when you get to a certain point and let you step through it, or adding in a debug line, so being able to go debug.log and then print out some text that's helpful, some variable value. But once you've got those basic tools under your belt, it is literally just solving problems and knowing how to Google. is all programming is, even in a day job. Like in my day job as a DevOps engineer, technology is changing constantly. You know, I work a lot in the cloud with cloud providers, specifically AWS. They are constantly releasing new stuff and updating old already existing things. Kubernetes as well, constantly getting updated, being pushed to new versions. Anytime I'm doing any work with any of them, I just have a browser open and I'm reading the documentation or Googling how to do something I need to do. So that's the kind of mindset shift for learning how to program, in my opinion. Right. Why is my piece position not being updated? Because I am probably setting it before I've updated the physical position of my piece. I think that's exactly the problem. I think that is exactly my problem. Oh, I'm being a bit dumb. I can remove this from here, and then in my piece object, when we move it, I'm not going to have this be an event. I'm just going to go into my board manager. When we say move piece to tile, we can say piece dot on piece moved dot invoke with the tile, and we want to pass in the previous tile first, don't we? But actually, we don't even need to do that. As I said, we don't need that. Because we already know where it was, so we can get rid of the need for previous. We'll call this next instead, and then on my piece visual, we'll update this. Rename this to next, and we'll use that through here as well. And that way, I think when we actually set up the board, we are calling move piece to tile to initialize it, so that should now work everywhere. Yeah, no chance. It's a really weird discipline, coding, because I think for the most part you don't have any clue. You never have any clue what you're doing. Like, you're never going to learn. You're never going to become a master of a language per se. You're only going to become a master of solving problems, and you'll have familiarity with the language, you know. Okay, so selecting my piece doesn't work, but moving it, oh, look at that. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. I think I maybe want to slow down that speed a little bit. Let's get the selection working, shall we? So in my piece object, when I set selected, I want to do on piece selected state changed dot invoke, and we are going to pass in selected. I think I maybe want to put in a little delay on here. Prepend interval, is that going to be it? Adds the given interval to the beginning of the sequence. I don't want to do that. I want to put an interval just in the middle. I wonder if that's a thing. Like, can I just do dot append interval? Amazing. And then what do you take? You just take a float. We'll say 0.25. I think I'll increase this to 0.375. Same on this. Whoop. 375. Ba-do-do-do. Recently been learning how to use FL Studio. Nice, nice. I do love FL Studio. Oh god. Hold on. Wait. Wait. We need to update this. This is going to be where I refer back to the card visual in Balatro again, although I think this is just lerping to the position of the card that we're following. So, which I guess, you know, we could do that by just going back in here and updating our physical position again to say, you know, selected. If we're selected, I want to do transform. Or no, I want to do vector 3 dot up multiplied by y position offset, which I think I've deleted. I did indeed delete it. Yeah, FL Studio is cool. I use Logic Pro because I am a Mac man, an Apple boy, which you know, probably isn't the greatest decision for game development, but I think with the new M processors, especially the latest M3s, they're really quite powerful for doing stuff even in 3D, and especially at like indie game level, unless you're doing something crazy with Unreal Engine. And even then, it's still like they still run pretty decent nowadays. I think the age of Mac gaming being ridiculous is starting to disappear, and will be completely gone when Apple pulls their thumb out their backside and makes the libraries for distributing to OS X as a platform more accessible for developers, because their processes suck at the moment. The only reason why it's easier to distribute to OS X on like Steam is because you don't need to do any of the application validation or like hash validations with Apple Developer when you export. Anyway, went off on a bit of a tangent there. There we go, Y position offset. And then for our piece visual, instead of using transform position, we'll just do a do tween to our visualized piece dot transform dot position. Amazing, that should be us done. Yeah, fair. No judgment here. Ah, he's not moving. Oh, of course he's not moving. I haven't set the offset to anything. Let's go with 0.5 again, like we said. So now all of our pieces are going to and plonk down. And then when we pick up a piece, it's still not moving. Oh, it's because I've got my things the wrong way around. We want to say... That's not the wrong way around. If we're selected... I think it's probably because we're updating the physical position afterwards. Yeah, there we go. Now we should be okay. Best way to learn a language is by talking to native speakers. That one guy trying to learn Python. There's a good gif for that I saw earlier, which one of my musician friends posted. There we go. Okay, slight problem, and I kind of knew that this was going to happen, to be fair. I guess we could have a boolean on here, private bool is moving. And then in any of the places where we handle movement, we'll just say if is moving will return. Otherwise, is moving is true. And then we can do a on complete. Set is moving to false. No semicolon. Got an extra bracket. I'm going to move these down as well, so that they're in line. And same here. Dot on complete is moving equals false. If is moving, return. Now, what I fear is going to happen here is that we're just going to get the piece moved, or that we're just going to get the state change even. Because of the way that the, or the order that the events are executing in. Enjoy. If you've got anything you want to share, feel free to join the Discord server and share some links. Would love to hear. I always love seeing what other people in the community are doing. But hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you at another one soon. Hey, look at that. We've got pieces moving. And I can take, and we're good. Oh, this is amazing. Okay, cool. All right. That brings us up to a nice finishing off point, to be fair. So I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers. No, 1,500, 1,500. So please do consider subscribing. If you want to get more involved with the community, see more updates regularly, join the Discord server down below. If you want to support the studio, there's a link to the Patreon in the description as well. Or if you don't want to support on a monthly basis, there's a link to buy me a coffee over on the side there. If you want to help me out, I really do appreciate it. Thank you ever so much for watching. I will see you next week. Cheers.